Hi, and welcome to my presentation for the Family Court Custody Bootcamp. This program was years in the making ever since I started volunteering as a coach at self-help desks. I've always wanted to coach people more efficiently. And this program, this family court custody boot camp, is my best effort to reach all of you inexpensively, efficiently, so that we can together help transform family court and use limited scope legal representation as a cost-effective way for us to be able to protect our families in family court. Thanks for joining. I hope you enjoy the presentation. I recommend that litigants in family court, whenever possible, at every opportunity, use something called limited scope legal representation rather than what we always use, commonly known as traditional legal services. How do they work? If you have an involved custody petition, which a lot of them are, most are, the average hearing is somewhere between 10,000 and 23,000, but the way lawyers think is they try and get a fee for a round number of $20,000. Most attorneys have a rate that ranges between maybe 250 at the real low end. In real expensive jurisdictions, it can go as high as $600 an hour. But I want to take an average of about $300 an hour, knowing that that's on the low end. To be able to get a $20,000 bill, the attorney is billing for about 66, a little bit more than 66 hours to get to that $20,000 bill. The actual time that a lawyer spends is at or about 12 hours, somewhere between 8 and 16 hours, depending upon how long you have to wait for your hearing to be called and how involved the issues are. But if you have a one-day hearing with or two with 8 to 16 hours of court hearing and prep time, the lawyer's spending about 12 hours, and he's meeting with you for somewhere between 3 to 5 hours, maybe 4 hours of prep, coaching, phone calls, for a total cost of out-of-pocket expense of $4,800, about 16 hours. And this is for, I would say, 9 out of 10 cases. 1 out of 10 are so much more involved that the expenses skyrocket. But the average case, this will work. So if the attorney's spending 16 hours of his own time for about 66, 67 hours of work, he or she is billing for an additional 50 hours of administrative costs, whether it's paralegal, staff, or other administrative work. So you're getting an additional 15,000 of money, in my opinion, that can be saved. The Law Center Boot Camp, my family court custody boot camp, is geared. It is designed for you to cut that extra fat off your bill and to be able to do that work yourself, because it's not time that the lawyer spends. It's actually done through a basic non-law degree work that you yourself can easily be trained to do. That's the general concept of my whole program. So if you then use a lawyer for only what you need, only what you can't do yourself, you will reduce the cost of the actual lawyer time down to 12 hours at $300 per hour. So $3,600. And for $498 for the Law Center Boot Camp, And an additional cost is I do think that you should retain some hourly coach at or about $75 an hour, maybe 4 hours or so. Look, there's a varying price here. Paralegals or any other type of consultant, let's call it, can charge as low as 50, as high as 150. But generally, I think you should budget in for another $400 or $375, and you will get under $5,000. What commitment, what time commitment you will need over the entire length of time of your custody petition, which is probably over the scope of a year, give or take. You will need to put in that a week's time, 37.5 hours, again, give or take. And this doesn't mean you have to take a week off from work or use a vacation. It means a Saturday morning, maybe for 4 hours, time when you're out of custody, when you don't have your children, you're not responsible. As a parent sharing time, you have a lot more free time on your hands. Find that extra about 37 and a half hours to put into your own case. And this is to help you be able to do that efficiently, effectively, and you will have savings in excess over $15,000. So lawyers bill inefficiently, and this is not an anti-lawyer presentation. I'm not anti-family law attorney. Every profession behaves in a similar fashion. And for support of this, I use the book, which is a description of a study by Paul Blumberg. He was a sociology professor in New York City, and during summers, he sent his students out to report on deceptive business practices within their place of employment. And there was a huge response, and this was over years, several years, but students reported that a vast majority reported some level of deceptive practices or dishonest billing practices. And again, I'm not even using the word dishonest here, but I am using this study as an example that businesses are profit motivated. They are not nonprofit. They are not for the benefit of the client, although you're in a fiduciary relationship. This is the way businesses behave for the benefit of the business, the shareholders, to earn money. So it's not just family law, and I don't want anyone to take this as anti-family attorney. This is just good business. This is for you to treat your own family law case as a business venture so that you could be most cost effective and most efficient, because that is not the job of your lawyer. Your lawyer has a professional responsibility to be a zealous advocate for the result, and they are not doing a cost-effective analysis. Some do. You can really get a special, caring lawyer who will think that way, and God bless all of you who do that. However, that is not the ordinary, customary practice of the profession. So my program here is a curriculum overview. Module 1, there's a total of 15 modules going over a 6 to 8 week period. It could go longer. However, what I'm going to do, this is going to start on January 10th, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll go about 75 minutes, and we'll go, as I said, from 6 to 8 weeks. For overage, for question and answer, for extra, for whatever I don't get done, or whatever questions that you have, I will have Thursdays available. Most Thursdays I will have Q&A at the same time. Thursday, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So we'll go 2 days a week on most weeks. If it's not necessary, if we get done early, I won't schedule that Thursday, but you will all have a communication line open with me, and you will also have a social media, really a Facebook group, where you can post questions, you can share your wins, what's working for you, maybe what's not, what resources that you have or you're finding. But it's a way for all of us to, in private, communicate about what we're learning, what we are finding in our own usage of the resources of the program, and questions that you can ask for me. Module 1 is about family court problems to avoid. For those of you who are just starting your petition, this is basically an explanation that family court can be a very dangerous place with a lot of pitfalls and a lot of negatively traumatic things that you want to do everything that you can to avoid. And again, what this program is designed to help you avoid. Module 2, how to choose your lawyer. It's an ongoing process of preparing, organizing, and participating in your own representation for a limited scope attorney. If you follow my advice in that module 2, I believe, and the whole program, this ultimately leads to a savings of over $15,000. That is the value that module and the rest of this program conveys. Module 3 is the use of technology for evidence and research. So using things for evidence, that's organizing. If you have a Mac in Finder, it's teaching you and showing how every document that's created, everything shared by your attorney, every note that you take, all the evidence that you save and forward into your computer to organize in folders and categories. Each file that is produced or sent to you should be named in a way that if you need to share this with your new limited scope attorney, they can look at the file and know what's in that file. So that's a general explanation of this module regarding the organization and preparation of evidence. And the research part of this module is how to use online resources, web pages, informational webinars like this one, or attorneys helping with Q&A, or any other instructional, informational research that you find online. I will teach you how to create a YouTube channel, index each helpful video that you find, and organize by category. Module 4, pay attention to self-care. You are a witness. You are presenting yourself as a parent who deserves the custody award and time that you are requesting from the judge. While you are going through this emotionally traumatic, heart-wrenching time period in your life, it basically teaches you this module. I will convey to you what the experts are teaching in how to take care of yourself, how to be mindful, how to be aware if you're acting anything but reasonably, calmly. It's techniques and ways to have mindfulness and be able to take care of yourself and present as the best witness possible, the best parent possible, and make good decisions during the length of the custody dispute. Module number 5, about family law. There are free resources posted online and free resources of instructional legal videos by a college called, or an academic organization called Law Shelf. They have almost an entire legal education, college level courses indexed by category, and they have corresponding curriculums with recommended videos to watch, quizzes to take to ensure that you're learning the material. In that module, I will teach you what a law school curriculum is, what a family lawyer knows, and what you can take over a weekend, a long morning or a day of watching entertaining, visually stimulating, educational legal videos so that you could have a crash course legal education and know the issues of law, what the case law or the statutes say about family court that you are going to be applying in your custody situation, so that you have a foundation of knowledge to draw from to be more efficient. And I kid you not, this is not too good to be true. It's called Law Shelf, and there is every legal category of law for you to take and educate yourself. And I will help you with that, the curriculum for what a family law lawyer knows. Module 6, take inventory and assess your situation. Well, how do you know what to ask for? If you are the one who's filing the petition, take inventory on your own personal situation and figure out what you want. And from that, what petition do you need to file? How do you draft it? And what you need to ask for? Module number 7, know the rules and the law. This is basically a tour through a fantastic online collection of self-help resources for self-represented litigants. And this website, lawhelp.org, is indexed by state, all 50 states in our country. It gives you a state page where it's sub-indexed by county so that you can find what document you need to file. It's put up. This nonprofit organization sets this up so that if you can't afford an attorney, you actually can find what's available online for you as quickly and efficiently as possible. We'll take a tour of that so that I'll help you be able to navigate that, and you'll see how easy it is. Module number 8, the contested hearing, preparation, and trial. I'll take you through a 12 video set, 10 to 12 video set of preparation for the hearing, how to prepare, organize your evidence, what evidence is relevant, what a whole bunch of do's and don'ts, what you need to know, what you don't need to know, and then a crash course on evidence, how to get it in, how to keep it out, how to cross-examine, how to present direct, and how to defend yourself while you're a witness and being cross-examined. Continuing, module number 9, for those of you who have difficulty with your ex, it's how to handle a high conflict custody dispute, meaning somebody who is giving you a hard time at every custody exchange, every communication. I take this module from the work as it's presented in free webinars by Bill, Eddie, and Megan Hunter, a group that they founded a business called the High Conflict Institute, and I think they're fantastic. When I attended their webinars, I saw myself and my own situation in what they were describing, and they give practical how-tos on how to best diffuse a highly emotional, highly contentious situation. It's the science behind what goes on emotionally and in your brain and in your emotions when you are at odds in a highly emotional, high conflict situation. And it's skills and practical ways for you to get for you to diffuse the situation and be able to function at the highest level. Module number 10, how to handle parental alienation. I took information from 2 to 4 online seminars produced by the Parental Alienation Study Group. These experts, because I approached these experts and I demonstrated the skill that I have in video production. You can find them on my Law Center YouTube channel, The Law Center, under a playlist called Parental Alienation. The doctors and research experts in the Parental Alienation Study Group gave me their articles, presentations at my request and my suggestion, and I produced 42 videos, how-tos about information, checklists on how to handle a parental alienation case, how to deal with false allegations, the science behind parental alienation, and I put it in I illustrated the videos and present them in simple terms. The people who've watched my videos say, gosh, there's too many. Well, how do we use them? So this module is me explaining how to use the videos that I produce on the Law Center YouTube channels, particularly the parental alienation playlists. Module number 13 is how to prepare for a guardian ad litem interview or home visit and a custody evaluation, how to talk to the psychologist who is interviewing you and then giving a report to the judge. Module number 12, how to handle judicial bias, how to find out if your ex's attorney has a personal relationship with the judge, or not personal, well, perhaps personal, but mostly financial, any type of professional connection, where to look online, what sources to check online, what to look for, and what to do when you find campaign donations from a law firm or an opposing lawyer, or even your ex, to that judge, how to request a recusal and what to do when you're in a situation where you feel like you're being subject to judicial bias. Module number 13, how to prepare for mediation and how to handle a mediation. Module number 14, negotiation. This is a summary of the material, videos, presentations, summaries of books written by Chris Voss. He is an FBI hostage negotiator, and he is revolutionizing the literature and the information surrounding how to be a negotiator. Module number 15 is dealing with being an out of custody parent. I will be sharing what I went through and how I dealt with the limited time that I had with my son and what I did to reach out to him, and connect, emotionally connect, because I had precious little time. And one thing that I did, as a little spoiler, is that I produced legacy videos of family members. I interviewed his uncles, my mother, uh, and best friends of deceased relatives, so that he had an idea of who I was, where I came from, more importantly, who he was and who he came from. As you know how important it is, these genetic tests and finding out our genealogy. Well, this is a video trip for my son. I produced video for my son, little documentaries, so that when I'm dead and gone, uh, and maybe did not have enough time with him, he will have interviews and videos, clips, memorabilia, ex- uh, videos of images and places and people of people he didn't know, and telling him about my family history and his family history, of course. The value of this, I put values on each one, conservatively measured, is 17,000. That is what my best estimation of the true value of this program to you if you are involved in a petition. So here's my experience. Who am I? If this guy produces, I'm this man who's producing all these videos that you can check out on the Law Center. But what is my experience in presenting this program? I'll go through this quickly. I have an advanced degree in trial advocacy from Temple University. It's a year program that taught me the science, or the skills and the practice of being a trial lawyer. I'm an attorney for 30 years. I don't have an active family practice. I've been mostly a litigator, however, in civil cases, personal injury, workers' compensation, Social Security, some family law, but not exclusively. And I want to be very upfront about this. This program will not be me coaching you about your actual fact pattern of your case. I have been a parental rights advocate, and I have produced the Law Center YouTube channel and have been giving free advice for that 30 years in family law. I don't have that paid practice, not because I didn't want to, but because my clients couldn't afford what the cost would be. And I actually think it's a broken system and needs to be reformed in the manner that this program is presenting. I did a year of protection from abuse law school clinic in Delaware County, and I have volunteered in Philadelphia as a family law lawyer, really that limited scope type lawyer. I've have been in my own high conflict custody litigation for about 10 years, and I'll be drawing on that experience. Wouldn't be able to teach this had I not been there myself. I also was a 4-year high school mock trial coach. And I want to tell you why I think this is significant. We taught, or what mock trial is teaching students to litigate one case at an extremely high level. I kid you not, the children in high school mock trial competitions have the poise and have the ability of a seasoned trial attorney with the one limited fact pattern that they study. So, doing that gave me the inspiration to make this program, because if I can teach a high school student to do that, of course, lay people who have a good high school education, maybe more, can also learn how to litigate if they have a controlled fact pattern. So there's not a far leap. You can see if students can do it, that you as a litigant can do it. And I encourage you to type in a YouTube search, High School Mock Trial Championship, and watch the skill of the students given opening, closing, direct exam, cross exam, and the witnesses, to show you that how doable what I want to do in teaching you this program is. I've been through multiple seminars from the top experts in the world on parental alienation, and psychologists helping people deal with high conflict custody situations and parental alienation. And I will be giving their best tips in a abbreviated fashion to be able to give you modules like how to handle a high conflict X, and how to take care of yourself so you don't behave destructively while you're going through such a traumatic situation. My professional education, if in addition to all my law school training, my law degree, my advanced law degree, but I also went through a year of landmark forum education, up through, for people who are familiar with this, up through the SELP and communication modules or programs that they offer. And I've completed about 80% of a full year of Tony Robbins's platinum curriculum, along with my wife, because we did it all, or almost all, virtually. So please note that I'm not doing Q&A for people for their own individual fact patterns and troubleshooting questions. What should I do? That is not what this program is. This program is a legal education and some psychology, but it's teaching you basically how to be your own paralegal so that you can participate in your own family law custody dispute at a fraction, at 20 to 15% to a third the cost. And again, that's a conservative estimate. I think it's much more. This is what the program is. It starts on January 10th and goes weekly on Tuesdays from 7 o'clock to 8:15 for about 6 to 8 weeks. It will go a minimum, and it'll be jam-packed, a minimum of 6 weeks, and it could go longer. I will do everything I can to keep it to 8 weeks, but it is loaded with information. And all modules will be recorded and made available to you if you can't make one or more of those Tuesday afternoons. If you register for this program before January 10th, you will be entitled to all versions, improvements, additions, and changes for the length of this course. This is a lifetime project for me. I believe it will bring social change. The more widespread its use, the more limited scope lawyers you will have, and the cost of going through family court will be substantially reduced. So this will be the pilot program, the first one, and you will be asked to give feedback, commentary, constructive criticism, and a testimonial. This is good. I've written it, and I want, again, your feedback. And I need your comments to share what you liked so that I then can market this across Pennsylvania and across the country so it can be used in legal aid centers across the country. I think the value is in excess of $17,000. I'm only asking you for $498. If you immediately sign up, and that is before December 23rd, 2022. At the time of recording this on Wednesday morning, you really have less than 48 hours, less than 2 full days. So sign up immediately and you will get $100 off. I would only request $398. So to make payment, you Venmo me the amount, 498 if you're hearing this afterwards, 398 if you act right away, or email me and tell me, yes, I'm in. I will send you an application along with my PayPal link. So if you do then pay, I will send you an application. The application is more for information so I can be more effective in presenting to you, but you're automatically in, of course. Why did I do this? The whole reason why I've done this program and dedicated such a huge portion of my professional life is because I went through family court and I believe it's broken. And not only did I realize it was broken from going through, but as a practicing attorney, it is so grossly inefficient the way it is now done. And this is a wide-reaching negative impact. 90% of people marry before the age of 50, and almost half get divorced. In addition, up to 40% of children are born to unwed parents. All these people will need to be in family court. And the fees are too high. Hourly lawyer, first of all, the one-on-one model of lawyers repeating to every client everything they have to say in training the person is grossly inefficient, and they're charging hourly up to $600 an hour. And average, I would say, is between $300 and $350. And as you saw in my calculations, that's the figure that I used. The average cost of divorce, I use that 20,000 figure. I think that most lawyers try to get to that point, but it can be, the average ranges from 10,000 to 2,300. And that's a statistic or some study about that. If you have a high conflict X, statistically, it's 10 to 15% of people are considered have high conflict personality disorders. Your costs skyrocket. In addition, 78% of workers live paycheck to paycheck in a pre-COVID study. So they don't have this money to be able to pay an attorney. And for people who qualify for free legal aid, 80% are turned away, or legal aid doesn't have the resources to help the people for what they need. This results in up to 90% of family court litigants showing up, filing, or showing up without an attorney. In some places, it's high. It's a little better, where 2/3 of the litigants show up, but between 2/3 and 90% of people can't afford the lawyer and are clogging the courts because it's a system that's meant for lawyers, but actually being used by lay people. This is not sustainable for a civilized society. My answer is technology. Mostly, or in large part, video. This is a video. Many of the instruction is video. I have a free online video library of resources so that I can be recorded one time for what I want to say to every client that comes in, and you can then watch that for free. Now, why is this possible? Again, it's because of technology. Back in 1971, when no-fault divorce exploded throughout the country, to do a video, you would have to use $50,000 worth of equipment. So it wasn't affordable to be able to do what we can do today. Now, all you need is I don't want to say generic, but a basic camera with video recording capability, really you can produce a professional quality educational video with just using information, uh, machinery that you already have. Your cell phone and your laptop home computer is actually how I'm recording this video today. And we don't have to pay for our newspaper articles. We don't have to make books. We can just put up a website, use a search engine, upload to YouTube, post on Facebook, or use email. We don't even have to pay for stamps anymore because we were all connected. We are all connected in the World Wide Web. So my first effort at helping middle to low income people who can't afford family court is to produce the Law Center YouTube channel. These are videos, instructional, free resources to help people get through family court, custody particularly. Now, please note, when you go through a video, particularly the Law Center, or when you look through videos or look through a channel, do not go to the video tab, because all you can do is sort by, if you look at the right-hand side of your screen, when it's added or the most popular video here. You are better off going to playlists where things are indexed by category. If you look at here, what's created on my channel, you'll see how I have another category of playlists called Family Law Self-Help Playlists. So that is one place that you can go, but even better, this is how I personally organized the Law Center. Is under the Home tab is the better place to look. I have put together, YouTube lets you do this, a table of contents. If you scroll down, this is now, you see on the left side, the Home tab is underlined. But if you scroll down, I have a trailer that tells you what the channel is and how to use it. Then I have video casts. These are partners or other nonprofits or experts who I recommend that you check their information, because they check their websites and what they're doing, because they're advocates in this family law space. So the next two rows under my Home tab are parental alienation. The first three are new to old. I'm sorry, row 3 is new to old. Row 4 is old to new. So now they're not indexed by category, subcategory, and there's 42 of them, which is why I produced the program, so you can get better organization and learn how to use them. But anyway, the next row down, this is the row 5, are the family law self-help playlists. If you hit the arrow, you'll see there are more than 5. This is, of course, not just on my channel, but any channel. Look for that arrow on the right-hand side there, because there's more. But I want you to know, limited scope, custody, these are organized by category and petition, or ways that you can maximize the use. You don't maximize the use of the channel. You don't have to go from most popular to least popular. You can find what you're looking for by category and table of contents on that Home tab. And if you look at this limited scope, hold on. Right here, that limited scope, the second one that's coming up, okay? Or right there. This limited scope, if you then look at these top 3 videos, for those of you who, for whatever reason, can't take the program, those 3 videos is something that you can watch to still get a benefit and learn how to be more efficient without taking the whole program. That's my free tip to self-help litigants, just by going to the channel. Those top 3 videos under limited scope representation, the first category on row 5 under the Home tab is how you find that. All right, so what I first started to do when I wanted to help was produce something called familylawcoaching.com. And this, I thought it would be a way to help, is coaching individual people who basically helping people on a national scale navigate family court. 2 things that I found. Number 1, I kept repeating the exact same information every time. So rather than me waste my time giving the same thing 100 times over and over, the same thing, is part of the reason why I recorded it into these resources that I'm sharing with you right now. The other reason why I don't want to do that anymore, I have a lot of partners who are also doing that just as well as I can. You can, when I knew there were other people who could do what I could do, maybe even cheaper, I got out of that gig and again recorded this to make a more valuable, cost-effective, time-efficient program. But I do recommend people consult a consultant or coach, non-lawyer, to be able to keep your costs down just with producing petitions, pretrial memos, notes for lawyers, maybe letters, or some things that don't involve the actual courtroom. The other reason why is clients want an attorney to go with them. So if I'm just coaching people, I'm not doing everything I can. I do not recommend that people self-represent if you can afford a few $1,000s more for an attorney. And the reason why, for a limited scope attorney, a courtroom attorney. And the reason why is there's a study. This was done by Vince Quintilla in Indiana. The perceptions of judges and court clerks are that you are less capable alone. You're worth less. There is there is a bias against you. And this graph just shows the top 3 things. These are things that judges want litigants to do, but when they're asked, the judges say they don't. They rarely, never do things they're supposed to. And on the bottom 4, the 3 of the bottom 4 triangles, that's the inverse. These are things that the judges don't want litigants to do, but they always or sometimes, in a vast majority of the time, do things they're not supposed to do. So a study was conducted, as I said, and they asked the questions: is there a negative signal if you show up alone? Are there negative stereotypes against you? And does it get worse as you climb up the ladder, meaning someone gets more educated up to a judge? The higher the person in the system, the worse the bias is. And the answer, of course, is yes, that there is this negative stereotype, and it's objectively measured in this study. The design of the study was to show identical factual situations 4 different times to a very healthy sample size of judges and arbitrators and lawyers. And the 4 different ways of showing information is a man alone, a woman alone, the woman with a lawyer, and the man with a lawyer, presented substantially the same fact pattern, equal merit, but different ways. He has a lawyer, she has a lawyer, he's alone, she's alone. And what the results are is, I know this is illegible, but I just want to show you a visual grid of what they found. If you look from the second to the left, when she is represented and he's not, he scores higher by almost 20%. When he's represented and she's not, that's the 3rd column over, then he gets almost 18% better with the same fact pattern. And again, I'm not saying that they then presented the case better, or the woman attorney, or I'm sorry, the attorneys presented the case better. I'm saying they measured the presentation to be equal. The study presented it as an equal fact pattern, but the judges and the lawyers scored it differently. Here's the feedback for the judges, and here's the lawyer. The reason you note that they're not equal, that the line gets higher if you're represented versus if you're not. Not because of any factual pattern. So this confirms that, yes, there's a bias against self-represented litigants, and that is why I am not recommending that you go alone. You're technically trained to if you take this program, but it's not ideal. You're giving away 20% of value, or you're less. Your representation is poorer if you are alone through no fault of your own. but people still don't have the money, so there's still a problem. And this is why I want you to know something called this term, unbundled services or limited scope legal representation, where you say to the lawyer, I want you to do X, a limited thing. The reason this is going to save you money so much because traditional legal services, when a lawyer undertakes a representation, they are interpreting that as meaning that they have to be your zealous advocate, and they have a professional ethics requirement of scrutinizing the information, of researching and giving the ordinary, reasonable, professional standard, which is high and expensive. If you're willing to waive that, and as an unbundled going to an unbundled attorney or requesting limited scope representation, here's the whole ball game. You are assuming responsibility for the result. You are taking ownership of what happens, and you're absolving that lawyer of that potential hit against his or her malpractice because of how much you are retaining, how much responsibility you are retaining. So this was measured. This was measured by Sergeant Shriver, Maria Shriver's father. Maria Shriver is the woman who was married to Arnold Schwarzenegger. They're advocates, and Sergeant Shriver was a beneficiary for families. And he studied this, and what they found is if you have the term that you're seeing on the slide is Shriver representation. What that means is limited scope representation. The lawyer is just going to talk to you and tell you what he knows. He or she knows, and maybe hold your hand at at some type of pretrial or limited hearing. So this is measuring those limited scope and unbundled services that I talked about in the previous slide, not traditional representation, which is the $20,000 overly expensive way of billing. So you're really specifying to a lawyer, look, I just need you to hold my hand at the hearing. I've prepared everything for you, and this is what this program is designed to help you to do. So this was again measured, and there's a comparison and contrast. There was people who went alone and they studied the outcomes, and there was people who had this Shriver representation. 16% of representation cases resolved just with the lawyer picking up the phone and reaching out to the other litigant or attorney, versus 2% of cases resolved without a court listing, without representation. Another comparison and contrast, 54% of cases with that limited scope representation resolved in some pre-trial settlement. In contrast, only 30% settled without an attorney. And then a more dramatic disparity here, 34% of representation cases were fully resolved during the settlement conference versus only 4% of people who didn't have an attorney could settle at a settlement conference at this study. In addition, cases were more durable with an attorney. If you had representation, you were 89% satisfied. You were 89% likely to keep your temporary custody order beyond 2 years. So it was pretty durable. In contrast, you were 1/3 likely to want to change it, that you weren't satisfied because you didn't have an attorney there. And here's why. So here is the impact of the custody projects. Attorneys educated parents. This was taken from interviews of the people who had the lawyers. They said that they were educated by the lawyer. The lawyer gave them reasonable expectations, and everything was more efficient, easier, and less tense. They felt supported and not lost in the system, and the attorneys helped communication and collaboration with the co-parent. and facilitated the settlement conference. They had more information, or the courts, benefited from more information. So everything, what the message was more effective because the right information was provided. And as I mentioned in the slide before, the order was durable. So stakeholders, meaning the whole court system, people, clerks, and other officers were consulted, and they said that lawyers helped litigants understand when the terms were reasonable. The clients knew when a settlement offer was there and good, that they should take it. Emotional tensions overall were reduced, and the terms that were negotiated by the attorneys enabled a more stable transition to increase the likelihood of settlement. Clients felt that they participated more, they were better educated, they were able to present their side of the case, and everything provided to the court was more comprehensive, relevant, and appropriate, and better documented, and it supported the court's ability to reach a just decision. So what are unbundled services? Think of that cart that I showed you. It's not the whole cart. It's not the whole meal. It's bite by bite. It's limited services where the lawyer breaks down the specific task, things that the client feels that the client can't do. And as I told you, the most important thing is that the client accepts responsibility for doing everything else. So the result falls on the responsibility of the client, and the lawyer is only responsible for the limited scope that he or she does. It works because we're now in a do-it-yourself society. We understand as consumers that things will be that'll be more affordable and more affordable to lower and moderate income individuals who are willing to do the extra work to save $15,000 of costs. And companies are already doing this. What I am doing is not original. Oh, it is in this space, exactly the way I'm doing it, but online services do exist and they're working. And here's a breakdown. You may want to pause this and read all the different things or examples of what a lawyer can do. I think the most important thing is the lawyer showing up. What happens at a court hearing is that judges say, all right, counsel, sidebar, or everyone back into my chambers. We're going to discuss this. And what the judges want to do, because they have to be time efficient with the number of cases on their load, on their dockets, they want to find out, all right, one attorney, hey, tell me what's going on. What's your client want? Attorney number two, okay, what do you want? Tell me what's going on. And then the lawyer, the judge says, here's what I'm going to do based upon what you guys told me. This is it. Go back and tell your clients. And then the clients can accept or reject, but the judge has basically already told them what to do. That lawyer showing up can save you a lot of administration cost. So it's beneficial to have the lawyers there because the judge isn't going to bring the parties into his own chambers, and he's not going to hear what people have to say, what lay people have to say in an open courtroom. So it is critical to have that limited scope lawyer. But when I was working at the self-help desks, people would say, I can't find one. And that's true. Even Joe Sorge in the movie Divorce Corp criticized the legal industry because lawyers felt that it was more, that it was better to do the traditional services for them. So they wouldn't make the limited scope services available for the client. But there is a national marketing service. This is not a law firm. This is the website of unbundledattorney.com. And what they are is it's a marketing company. They sign up lawyers who they try to get every county in the country, and they hold it to one or two to be able to give that lawyer enough business so that there is a place to look. I recommend that you look on your own with the search that I actually show on that limited scope playlist. And of course, I discuss this at depth in the module, but there is a national online service to do this for you. And I contacted them. Before I did this program, I considered working with them. And they explain, there's a video here, if you can see that arrow on this page, and there's the website, unbundledattorney.com. They say how to bill, and they give you a training showing you or giving you a recommended menu for clients on what you could or wouldn't do for them. So I look further into this. And by the way, please take notice of the pricing and remember the pricing that I showed you at the beginning of this for actually what the lawyer spends, because everything else the lawyer does, they have a trained paralegal, again, which is just goes to show you the methodology of producing this program. So again, in drafting this program, I looked at Unbundled Attorney and I wanted to purchase a book or a manual training me how to do this. And what this author, Forrest Mostyn, taught me is that it's not for everyone. Unbundled services aren't for anyone. You have to give a rigorous training and ask. Here's a list of questions. I took this from a larger list, but the client has to be somewhat self-sufficient. If the client isn't self-sufficient, you have to train more. And then you're billing by hour. Your bill is going up. The client's less satisfied. You're still having to teach the client to how to do some stuff by him or herself. So then it led to my production of this program. Most people can't do a lot of things on their own, or they can't do it time efficiently. So this program is designed to enable you as a custody litigant to do as much as you can on your own. I want you all to know it's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. What a lawyer does in the law office is basically mostly common sense and can be taught with a shockingly limited amount of time in comparison to what you would think. Many bills that I have seen from my research is that what people have been paying is the cost of a law school education or more. So it was a short jump or a short leap for me to realize, well, gee, why don't I just train paralegals with a program? And then it's a training for advocates, and it's also a training for you for your own case. So if you can't afford and you don't want to go to the take this program, I do have a site that I can advise for you. It's called lawhelp.org. It's the nonprofit who has indexed all 50 states and counties within that state, and it takes you directly to the self-help desks of your local county within your local state. People have asked me, how can you give a program where you're teaching everyone anything in all 50 states? Well, I'm leading you, and I give a tour to lawhelp.org within my program so that you feel more self-sufficient and able to find the form that could help you. So how do I do all this? What is the best way? It's a digital online program training to help people go through limited scope, work with limited scope legal attorneys. So I'm not training you to be a self-represented litigant, to go into court and throw you to the lion's den on your own. I want you to be a smart, confident client who then is better able to hire inexpensively an attorney who can handle the parts of your case that you can't, while you prepare and then sit back the high stress parts. This is best done with a digital product. And so we will have that 8-week program, and then I will turn it into an online recorded evergreen product that will exist forever. And you will have all the updates if you sign up today. So how can I do this? I am changing the model, and I want to see this model change from attorneys talking to their clients on one-to-one, which is costly and inefficient. And I want legal training and information transformed from one to many, which is inexpensive and transfer the savings to you. This is the new business model. This type of program will transform the legal industry, but I want your participation. I would love to present this to you. This training also works for advocates. So please send me the email at glawrencedemarco@gmail.com and make a Venmo payment at the Law Center. email me and I'll send you an application with a PayPal link if you'd rather go through PayPal. So that's the presentation. Send me an email. I really hope to have you, and when we can transform family court together, starting with your custody dispute.